What are the key skills a facilitator should possess? Well, there's many. You're going to hear people talk about, when it comes to facilitation, the ability to build an agenda, the ability to hold space, to invite people in, and this is all important. But there's so much more to a facilitator. When's the last time you had a facilitator cause an argument? Hi, my name's John McFadden. I'm the managing partner with Agile Centre. I'm a certified Scrum trainer with Scrum Alliance, and I've been in the Agile and Scrum world now for over 20 years. So if you're honest, has your facilitator ever caused an argument? One of the biggest skills, is it a skill? I don't know. A facilitator needs, particularly in the environment that we work in, is they need to be comfortable or at least somewhat accepting of conflict. They need to lean into it, not avoid it, because conflict is a perennial, persistent aspect of any great team. The difference between a new team that is still working things out and a really great team who's been through that journey already is the great team knows how to deal with conflict because they've dealt with it before. No, they haven't avoided it. And as a Scrum Master, as a facilitator, you need to lean into it. Now, are you going to go so far as to provoke the conflict? Maybe, maybe not. That might just be me. But actually, being willing to play in conflict, allowing teams to enter this and knowing how to exit it are really very, very important skills. Because if you don't deal with that conflict, it's going to be an undercurrent. It's going to fester. And as with all relationships, these things suddenly burst. And you're going to have to deal with it magnified however many fold when it bursts. So instead, great facilitators spot that undercurrent and bring it to the fore. Maybe somebody always gets cut off. Maybe somebody just is agreeing, in their words, but not in the tone of their voice, not in their actions. I want a facilitator to draw that out. Maybe in the meeting, maybe to one side later, but bring it back into that meeting. John, I just get the sense you're not on board with this. What's that on? What's happening? What are you thinking? Invite them in, hear what they have to say. Create a space where everybody knows that what is said in the room is going to be kept in the room. And it can be as simple as that. You'll hear about psychological safety. You'll hear about a lot of things in the team dynamics world. And that's great, but sometimes you don't have it. Sometimes all you can say is, we are going to share things in this meeting, and we are going to have to trust that nobody shares it beyond these walls. And invite people in and let them share as much as they're willing to. Conflict is a big part of learning how to be a team, because we have to learn how to manage it. We have to learn how we as a team deal with this. Because if we don't deal with conflict, it becomes a problem. But also, how do we have the great ideas? Because the great ideas aren't born of all agreeing and compromising. They're born of 2 or 3 people in the team having strong opinions about differing ways and clashing. And in that clash, in that melting pot of opinions, a better way appears, a third, a fourth way, whatever it is, that they all go, yeah, that's better, because they've had the divergent viewpoints, they've had perspectives that aren't all in sync, and they know that it's worthwhile, it's worth the discomfort, it's worth maybe the angry words, or with one team, the shooting of Nerf guns. It's worthwhile, because it's going to be better, and they are going to be a better team because of that conversation. So one of the biggest skills that I find missing in Scrum facilitation is the willingness and the ability to deal with conflict in a healthy way. There are other things. Yes, you're going to have to be able to craft an agenda. Yes, you're going to have to send meeting invites occasionally. I try to avoid it, but it happens. You're going to have empathy. You're going to have to understand where people are coming from. You're going to have to run the meeting. You're going to have to be resilient. And for me, a big part of this is preparation. Your plan, all I can guarantee about it is it's not going to go to plan. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do when that team takes a hard right suddenly and disappears down a different track than the one you thought they were? What about when that exercise that you were going to run, you don't have the stuff for, or it falls flat and it fizzles out? How do you, as a facilitator, bounce back? For me, preparation's a big part of it. When I prepare for retrospectives and when I prepare for big workshops and things, I invariably have 2, maybe even 3 at times, exercises to fill any gap. I have backups. I often have backups of backups because I don't know that the backup will work, because when these things are put into practice, stuff happens. Right? You need to be able to bounce back. Your role is to get this group of people to the end outcome that they need to within the allotted time. Just because it's not going to plan, that is not their issue. That's your issue. So how do you shake it off? Change your plan and move forwards. As I said, preparation for me works really well. Over the years, I've got enough experience, I've got enough battle scars to roll in the moment, and I think acceptance is actually a big part of it. How often have we, I will put my hand up and freely say I've done this, and I suspect any Scrum Master who's been in place for any length of time has done this. How often have we stuck to a plan knowing it's not working? We need to get to acceptance quickly. We need to just go, okay, this isn't working. What's next? Will you be flustered? Yeah, probably occasionally. Will your backup work? Maybe, maybe not. But trust in your instincts, trust in the team. Work with them to create forward momentum and keep it going. So that exercise didn't work. What else can you do to close the gap? So you don't have the stuff for that exercise. It didn't turn up in the post in time. Great. What can you do to move forward? Resilience is incredibly important because we need to get them to the end in the time we have allotted. Otherwise, they're going to be looking at you and thinking, why do we bother? Why turn up to a meeting you're running because you got all flustered, it went wrong, that's your job. Okay? It's not always perfect. I have freely admitted to getting things wrong in the middle of meetings, had a bit of a laugh with people, and here's another exercise. I've even asked for grace before and said, can I just have 5 minutes to go cry for a bit, come up with a new way of going forwards, you go and have a coffee, we'll be back in 5 minutes and carry on. And you know what? The team were fine. I needed 5 minutes to collect my thoughts, come up with a new plan, and off we went. But you need that resilience. Accept that whatever's gone wrong has gone wrong. Okay? It's the best it could have been. You did everything you could, and this is the outcome. That's life. Now move forwards. Okay? So these are 2 things that I see, and I see missing in many facilitators, particularly in the Scrum and Agile world. I see people avoid conflict. I see people turn up and get flustered, not be prepared, because they're rushing around because they're very busy. The role of a facilitator, particularly in the world of Scrum, but actually I think in general, is there to help others get to their outcome within the allotted time frame. There are many skills to being a great facilitator, but please get comfortable with conflict and work out how you can be resilient and get to acceptance and move forwards in the moment.